Hey guys, and welcome to the second installment of videos tonight from me, Spartan086. And what you see in front of you is a Sherman T34 rocket launcher. Obviously this came from another 135 kit, and it turned out to be a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Building the rocket pods and that piece of cake, but it's the connections that absolutely did me in. Obviously when you get the tank, the 135 kit, it's got indentations on each side of the turret for this to be put in. So it turned into an absolute mess for 2 hours of trying to get this into position. I had to add another pole to strengthen this because obviously, like I said, it's a 135 kit. It's not used to the length and width of the 132 barrel. So it was pretty hard to do, but in the end I managed to get it to work. And yes, it does move up and down. Not something I really want to do because it is glued and eventually it will come off, but it does show you pretty coolly that it does work. I'm going to come round and he's going to have a wee look. So the barrel is a wee bit bent, but when you move it up or down, it moves back into position. Overall, it turned out not too shabby. It is one of those wee funky things that most people don't see Forces of Valor talking about, or 21st Century, or King and Country, or New Model Army that have put them out. I was surprised at New Model Army. New Model Army I've just discovered absolutely amazing amount of kit that they've done in the 130 series. If you are a collector and you've never heard of them, please look them up. Absolutely amazing stuff. I'm on the order now of looking at getting a couple of Tigers and possibility of a Churchill, which would be amazing to add to the kit, the collector's kit here. It's turning into a little museum now. I'll do a video one day of all the shelves that I've put up and etc. with everything here. But back to this. So obviously it is a bit of work to be done. The history behind the T34 is basically it came in because of the Germans' use of the, oh god, I can never pronounce this right. Never. Apologies. Apologies to any Germans watching, that was terrible. But the Germans had brought in the Never and it caused a bit of a stir. I mean, the Russians already had their Katyushas, or Stalin's organ as the German soldiers had nicknamed it, which is pretty effective, but not like today's munitions where we can fire a rocket and you can guide it right into the target, right through somebody's window, like a Tomahawk, the missile coming off the boat, or even the new versions of the MLRS or the HIMARS for the Americans. None of it's cluster munitions anymore because they're outlawed, so everything's guided. So the munitions could be a high explosive warhead, and you could theoretically at 40 kilometers you could stick one of those bad boys straight through somebody's window, and that's what is today. But back then obviously they didn't have that, so they had to do a mass rocket launch. So they'd put a few of these batteries out there, 4 or 5 Shermans, and get them to fire in the direction, because there was no guidance at the time. So there was an overall going to the primitive kind of idea of, right, taking a degree off there, right, that's where the barrel's pointed, trying to get the elevation right so you're getting it on target, and then firing and praying most of the time that they don't drop shot, which is infantry's and tankies' worst nightmares for artillery, is a drop shot. But obviously, like I was getting back to it, so the Germans have put in theirs, which started off with just the pods. So we just have the trailers going out, and they were very effective in mass attacks. But the Germans started looking at maybe easier transportation, so they stuck them on the half tracks, and they did it with the barrels, which was the, is it 7.2? No, isn't 7.2. It's a smaller version of the Hanomag, but it had a rocket launcher on the back, and it was very, from what I've read, was very effective in mass attacks. And then they stuck it on the Hanomag, which I've done one of my customizations on. Obviously, I had 6 pods in each side, and if you could have 12 vehicles launching them, it's pretty effective at bringing down a good rate of fire onto an area. Especially if you've got a massed infantry attack with tanks moving through an area and you launch one of them together with 88s, 105s, then you could do a lot of damage. So that was the idea. So the Allies went with it. The Brits, not really much rockets there, but the Americans started to see the innovation and the idea in doing that, and obviously they came up with the T34. Obviously not to be confused with the magnificent T34 of the Soviet Red Army that smashed its way through Eastern Europe into Berlin. There's many names for this: rocket launcher, T34 and the calliope. So there you go, a bit of history to the vehicle. It turned out pretty good. As you see, I've only painted the actual rocket barrels and the upper structure. I didn't paint the vehicle because, why? I don't know. Hard to do. Couldn't think of anything actually to put on it. And like I say, the weathering was pretty shabby for me, so I decided to leave it. At the moment, I haven't decided whether or not I am actually going to do it or not, because the more I look at it now, the more I see that it should have something on it. So I'll leave that there. That's it. Hopefully the new Stone Tiger will arrive either this week or next week, and I'll get the video up on that. It's going to be pretty much the same as the last one, except that it's got the paint job on the outside. Why would they put it on the inside, you ask? Exactly, it's on the outside. It's a funky wee pattern, but they seem to have charged an extra 20 quid for that. Well, hey, well done, Forces of Valor. So I'll get that video up to everybody. Hope yous are all well. Like I said in the last video, if you want to talk to me, the email's there. I did promise I would set up a Facebook. I did, and then I have decided to come off social media because of it is just absolutely draining my mind trying to deal with people on there, especially the uneducated. History's history. If we want to learn history, you should always, if you want to interpret history for your own political aims, then bad. And that goes for both sides. I have no time for people like that. And many of you have messaged and said user agreement, and I'm glad that I'm still seeing people out there. So that's why I don't do it. So the email's set up now. Easiest way to contact me is through there. I try and respond to everybody's emails, and to be honest, I do get to these guys. I'm sorry that it is usually about 4 or 5 days later, but like I've said before, family life and work and all that, they come first. So I hope you are well and you are bearing through what's going on now. The world's just getting a bit mad, and this takes my mind off it. So fairly good. So like I said, end it there. Don't want to take up any more of your time. I hope everybody's well and taking care of themselves and looking out for each other. If you want to talk to me, you can do it for the email, which will be down in the description. And until the next time, guys, take care. Bye bye.